So let's look at obtaining a crypto license, the so-called VASP license. That's a virtual asset service provider in the Czech Republic. Getting a VASP license in the Czech Republic is a popular way for crypto firms to enter the EU market. Let's take a detailed look at this process, its advantages and its disadvantages. What exactly is a VASP license in the Czech Republic? The VASP license, Virtual Asset Service Provider, is regulated by amendments to Law No. 253 of 2008 on anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism. It grants the right to legally provide services for the exchange, storage, and transfer of crypto assets, as well as to issue and sell your own tokens. The main supervisory body is the AML and CFT Oversight Committee, the Czech National Bank, which regulates crypto assets as financial instruments only in specific cases. Next, we'll examine the procedure for obtaining a VASP crypto license in the Czech Republic and share the views of our company's lawyers, who, based on years of experience in various jurisdictions, will outline the pros and cons of the Czech system. So, among the advantages of obtaining a license in the Czech Republic, we can highlight the following. First, access to the EU market. The license opens up the possibility of passporting activities to other EU countries, thanks to the single market principle. This is a significant advantage for business expansion. Next is the promotion of trust. Having a regulated license in an EU jurisdiction significantly strengthens trust from clients, banks, and business partners. Third advantage, easier access to banking services. While opening bank accounts remains a challenge for licensed VASP service providers, the process becomes significantly easier. They have a better chance of opening a corporate account in European banks or finding specialized payment solutions. Fourth, clarity and structured regulation. The legislative framework is clearly defined in accordance with international FATF standards and EU directives, making the business rules clear. Fifth, moderate initial capital requirements. Compared to jurisdictions like Malta or Luxembourg, which require significant share capital, the formal minimum threshold in the Czech Republic is much lower. Sixth, developed infrastructure. The Czech Republic has a strong ecosystem of qualified lawyers, IT specialists, and consultants with expertise in the field of cryptocurrencies. Among the cons and disadvantages of the licensing process in the Czech Republic, we highlight the following. First, strict requirements for staff and ultimate beneficiaries are the main obstacle. The regulator conducts a very thorough check of all owners, directors, and especially the AML officer. A flawed reputation, lack of experience, or non-transparent source of funds can lead to a rejection. Second, complexity and cost of procedures. Developing effective, rather than just formal, anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing rules is a costly and time-consuming process requiring highly qualified experts. One of the main disadvantages is also the duration of obtaining a license. The entire process from initial preparation to obtaining permission can take from 6 to 12 months, which rules out a quick start. Fourth, continuous supervision and compliance expenses. After obtaining a license, the company will be obliged to incur fixed costs related to maintaining an AML officer, conducting audits, updating procedures, and reporting, while the regulator will actively supervise this process. Subjectivity of the regulator's assessment. Despite clear legislative norms, the final decision largely depends on the human factor. Incomplete or poor quality documentation is almost guaranteed to lead to delays or a refusal. Difficulties with opening bank accounts. Even with a license, opening a corporate bank account remains a separate and complex task. Banks conduct their own, often even stricter verification. So how do you get a VASP license in the Czech Republic? The licensing process can be divided into several stages. First, document preparation and creating a legal entity. Usually this is a limited liability company with a minimum share capital of 1 Czech koruna. However, the regulator looks at the company's actual financial stability. Next, developing a business model and internal rules with a detailed description of services, target audience, scope, and technology. This is the foundation for all subsequent documents. Developing internal AML and CFT procedures. This document is key. It must strictly comply with Czech and European law, including EU directives for AML and CFT processes. Appointing responsible persons. You must appoint an AML officer with an impeccable reputation, experience, and EU or Czech residency status. A qualified management team is also required. The next stage, application submission and verification. This involves gathering documents, bylaws, registry extracts, owner info, criminal records, proof of funds, CVs, business model, AML rules, IT setup, and so on. Next, submitting the application to the Anti-Money Laundering Supervision Committee, checking the completeness of documents and a thorough due diligence review. The regulator checks all owners, directors, and the AML officer for reliability, competence, and no criminal ties, assessing the business model and risks. The regulator analyzes how well internal procedures match the stated risks. And the final step is the decision and registration. Issuing a decision. Deadlines aren't set by law, but it usually takes 3 to 6 months or more, depending on the document's complexity. Entry into the VASP register. Once approved, the company is added to the official register of virtual asset providers. From that point on, you can start your operations. So what are the obligations after getting the license? After obtaining the license, the company must submit regular reports to the relevant regulator and continuously maintain its internal rules so they remain current and compliant. Czechia is an attractive VASP jurisdiction for those seeking long-term EU operations and are prepared to invest both time and money into the necessary quality documents and recruiting and hiring top-tier experts. The owners and management must have a clean reputation and be able to prove the source of their funds. In conclusion, West Union Group has a team of expert lawyers with deep experience in obtaining crypto licenses. If you found this information helpful, we would appreciate your feedback. To get more information or to discuss your questions, please use the contact details provided in the description or leave a comment below this video.